you don't have a symbol for that. It's not a symbol action under Islamic, the English dictionary. I can take part of this. I can see the weirdest thing possible. So it's all about like just blaming things out from it's crazy. That's doing it. It's defense. This is what Muslims do. Whenever this is brought up, you go to the defense. I don't get the defense when it comes to specialized things, right? You're ill, you're sick, you don't go to your friend, you go to the doctor, right? Friend maybe knows one here and there, but
like marriage advice? What is that question? It's getting really obvious. You have to
easily.
Yeah, I'm good off Canada, bro.
And are not peers. They're not equals. The United States is far stronger.
Don't come to Canada. We're already cooked here. You guys need to pull through.
Yeah, I'm good off Canada, bro. Thanks, John, but yeah, too much H1B is going on.
And we should expect the United States to overwhelm and destroy Iran really easily.
Look at Ray saying pre-watch. Why would I pre-watch a lecture? First off, second off, it literally dropped 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago. I've been
The law
live.
of asymmetry states that that's usually not the case. It's usually the underdog that has the advantage. And we see this from history all the time. Okay, so when the Persians...
Hope you look into it yourself. Khamenei was fighting ISIS
in Syria. Oh my god, TTS $50. This is why I put the TTS 50.
90 BC invaded mainland Greece against Athens and Sparta. Persia at that time was the first world empire. It had infinite resources, infinite manpower, infinite wealth. And it lost to the Greeks not once but twice. And then the Macedonians under Alexander the Greek, and they were like a tribal army, not a very large army. They were able to go into Persia, and Persia at the time was basically most of Eurasia, and conquered it in about 10 years' time. The Romans started off as a tribal people, which then built the Mediterranean Empire. Then you have the Essex, so the Vikings. So this happens a lot in human history. A people in the borderlands, a tribe, a small ethnicity, are able to conquer a great empire. And the law of asymmetry tells us why, okay? So I'm gonna go over very slowly in detail how this law of asymmetry works. All right, so let's look at an empire. And there are 3 major advantages to an empire. All right, first is mass.
Lock in, y'all, lock in. This
just means that they have a lot of people, okay? They also have an infinite amount of people. The United States has a population of about 350 million people. But remember, the United States can also draw on the populations of its allies, which includes the Five Eyes, the Anglosphere. It also includes Europe. It also includes East Asia, South Korea, Japan. Basically wherever the Americans have a military base. Right, so most of the world are either allies of the United States or vassals of the United States. So the United States can basically draw on in billions and billions of people for its wars, okay? So it's mass. Second is organization. Organization just means a hierarchy of bureaucracy and elite that allows you to organize your resources and your people in order to generate wealth, which is basically science and technology, okay? Science, right here, okay? All right. So, what we understand is that all these advantages ultimately disadvantages in the long term. All right, so let's say mass, you have a lot of people, okay? We have a lot of people, you create a lot of inequality.
Immigrants, right?
Why? Because there's competition for resources. There's too many people, right? And this all leads to debt and slavery. And as a result, your people become complacent, lazy, indifferent. They're competing against each other. They're really okay? So they're not motivated to do anything, to work or to fight wars, but especially fight wars. Okay? So even though you have many kids, the power is that there's also a hierarchy. And the problem with that is that if there are consequences to your actions, you become well, the first major weakness of this empire is that the people aren't really motivated. So you, as people, are really motivated. You have a huge advantage, okay? Because energy.
Who has motivation right now? Who doesn't? What does that even say?
So the empire won't change. The empire will not question. Is Iran transforming society? Are people becoming more motivated? Are people in Iran learning from their mistakes and innovating, becoming resilient on the battlefield?
There's a really good example that Suleiman brought yesterday in space where in Syria, they staged all these protests and the internet stayed on for way too long. But when Iran had the CIA Mossad infiltrate the protests and tried to spread propaganda about Khamenei, they disabled the internet right away. They didn't let it go on and drag out for a long time. They shut it out. They were learning from their neighbors.
Are Iranians sticking together people? Okay? Because if the answer is yes to all 3 questions, then Iran will win and America will lose. Okay? That makes sense. All right. So that's the theory.
Hey, Socratic Worker, can you tell the other one stop saying grapes, Nico?
So let's now talk specifically about America and Iran. Okay? So America will have 3 major advantages in this war. Okay? These 3 advantages are, of course, technology.
Here he said technology, science. Let's see if I learn. Technology, science, they're more advanced and they have mass.
Propaganda, the most advanced weaponry, and that's technology. Propaganda means that America controls information space. It controls the internet. It controls the world's most powerful media, including New York Times, CNN, BBC. It controls YouTube. It controls Google. It controls information landscape. America does not want you to.
Wait, who controls all? Wait, who though, James?
Something. It can hide it from you. America controls the discourse. It can control how you think about the world. That's propaganda. The last thing is money. That's the idea.
Who controls the money too? I'm ready to do it. You know, it was super eye-opening yesterday. I was speaking to that American soldier, and he didn't know why he was going into war. I asked him, okay, what do you do? You're an engineer. He said, yeah, I'm engineering helicopters. I'm ready. I might get deployed. I'm going to leave soon. They're making sure that we're ready. And I said, wait, why are you doing this war? And he said, well, I want to protect America. I'm like, well, they just said Iran did not pose an imminent threat to America. They just said that. I didn't know. It was about leaving. We're going to stay for a second. Why would you not look this up before giving your life to a cause? Why not take a second to look at what the politicians are saying in the news? Is that schizo conspiracy? The Secretary of War, the Secretary of State, the President are saying Iran did not pose a threat. Directly, imminently. You know, I didn't know. Well, imagine he was ready to die for something he had no idea about. Just the idea of America. Poor guy, he was well-intentioned, but he had no clue what he was saying.
The United States controls the US dollar, which is the sole reserve currency of the world. The United States can print as much US dollars as it needs in order to win this war. That's an infinite money.
What does that mean about reserve currency of the world? It's a money.
Okay, and now they can use this money to bribe people to fight this war. It can pay for mercenaries. It can bribe minorities to rebel against the government in Iran. It can bribe Iranian officials to betray the government.
So reserve currency that means it's a foreign currency held in large quantities by central banks and monetary authorities as part of the foreign exchange reserves, primarily used for international transactions, debt servicing and managed US trades. So basically means it's the currency of the central banks. Okay.
Okay. So look at these 3 things. You think that America is invisible, right? But again, we need to think about the loss of asymmetry and recognize that its advantages are also disadvantages, right? So let's discuss this. Technology. Well, you know, if you have advanced weaponry in the world, you become lazy, arrogant, and dependent on technology, right? So the best example, of course, is our school, where you have access to ChatGPT, right? And like you become smarter because you have access to ChatGPT. No, you become dumber. You become lazy, right? Same with technology. You think that the most advanced weaponry in the world, America will become invisible, but instead, the American military becomes too dependent on technology. It becomes too arrogant, too complacent. Okay, it's like, well, you know, we're in trouble, then we'll just send the Air Force. And
it's kind of like the war of the human soul versus the manufactured soul. artificial AI, materialistic society, Peter Thiel, ChatGPT, advanced military weaponry, versus a couple of schizos and some chest beating. The spirit, people united off of a greater cause, and the most advanced military in the world, getting people to die for them because of propaganda. That's what the war is.
Okay? So it leads to dependency. And this actually hampers innovation and resilience in the battlefield. And this is what you need to win, okay? You need to be innovative and you need to be resilient on the battlefield, but because of technology, you become too lazy to think for yourself. Alright? That's one problem. Propaganda. You would think that, oh, American control the debate, therefore that's a huge advantage. It's actually not an advantage, guys. The reason why is that in order for innovation and resilience to happen, you need to have open debate. Right? You need people to voice dissenting opinions.
You know what's crazy too? This is happening right now. The people that I disagree with and that have been very publicly disagreeing with my anti-war take, based on he doesn't want to have a conversation. Ben Shapiro won't debate. Matt Walsh won't debate. Piers Morgan won't do a debate. Matt Walsh will just, oh, you're low IQ. Okay, let's have a conversation then. What's up? Well, I don't want to do it because I. Ben Shapiro obviously no, but Piers Morgan asked for a debate, won't do it. Same thing as just publicly challenge to that conversation. I don't think he's going to accept. I mostly did that to show people that, why won't these people accept? It's not a debate, but I don't want to have a conversation because we have disagreements, and I think he is falling for propaganda. But so many of these major voices, they won't engage in dialogue because they want to. I think a lot of them maybe they're not aware, but they do want to push things that are lies, or propaganda, or not true. And so they want to stay within that echo chamber. They want to keep echoing the propaganda. I really do believe if somebody is not willing to engage in dialogue, they are most likely pushing propaganda, and they're comfortable with it, and they like it.
But if you switch landscape, what you can do is censor. And that's what we're doing right now. It's going to shut away. You're not allowed to point out that this war is stupid and America can't win this war. Otherwise, you'll be kicked out, okay?
Yep.
So this means that there's really a lack of rigorous debate within the American government, within the military, within the American elite, which of course will lead to hubris, will lead to bad decision making. No one point out too afraid of pissing off the president and his people, so they shut up and America will be making the same mistake over and over again, okay? We call it tricky and cool way, okay?
Yeah. The cold ritual.
Basically, getting hot on our supply is a phrase that we use. But money and love. You think, okay, well, this is it, man. We supply everyone, we supply the entire world, and
stop being racist, bro. Kool-Aid. Really, dude? Bro, have some respect.
And we're good, right? The problem is this. The problem is that if you bribe people, they're not going to fight for you, right? Because all they want is your money. If you bribe them, they'll probably take the money and run away. Okay? Or they'll figure out how to get more money out of you by cheating you. So right now, the Americans are going to fund these militias and ethnic minorities and opposition groups against Iran, okay?
That's a major difference. That's not people that join the U.S. Army, join the military. They're doing it because they want to buy a Dodge Charger. The people in Iran right now, they want to do it because this is their cause. They're doing this for jihad. That's the difference. Some people are doing it for currency because, they want to buy a ring for their Stacey. If these shields, bro, they want to do it for eternal paradise. It's just different motivation.
But guys, these are hustlers, right? They're not funny because they want more freedom. They're funny because they want to rip off your government. And so this money issue can be a problem in the long term. Because people you're bribing, you can't even trust. They're not motivated to actually win this war for you. They're actually motivated to scam you as much as possible. And it can be actually a problem in the long term because you're putting so much resources into these hustlers. Okay? Alright. So what this means is that America has three major problems. Okay? It has three major problems. The first major problem is the lack of political will. And all this is saying is that American people don't want to fight this war.
You have to die for Israel, boy. Go and die for the Epstein regime, boy. Go and fight for the Epstein.
The American government doesn't even know why they're fighting this war. No one cares. Okay? For the Iranians, it's a struggle of life and death. Right? If America loses this war, they go home and forget about it. But the Iranians lose this war, they get killed. Or they lose their country, they lose their society, they lose their civilization, they lose their identity. They cannot afford to lose this war. Okay?
The only aspect of a whole religious battle here is they're just trying to get people to genocide Muslims because so much of Christianity in America has been converted to be Zionist. Because like, the evangelicals in the megachurch are saying that God bless those of us in Israel. It's like the ultimate cause is turning Christians into Zionists.
The fortunate problem that America's facing is they don't have any political will to fight this war, but they still fight this war anyway. The question, of course, is why? What's happening? This is actually the most important question. It's the most complicated, so we'll see this later. Okay? Second is the idea of logistics and manufacturing. So America is very good at fighting short wars. Okay? The reason why is they're advanced weaponry, but they have manufacturing issues because, as we know, America ships all its factories to China. So it doesn't have any factories. So yes, it's the most advanced weaponry in the world, but this weapon doesn't do any good. You don't need munitions, right? You don't need munitions,
John
bombs,
stream comes
bullets.
on. Please pay less attention to kick chat, bro.
Yeah, that's a good request. I think so. I'm gonna ignore the chat. I just have to organize things last time. I don't think I was paying attention that much, but you get the point.
You need factories for that. America doesn't have these factories. Now, I understand that America is trying to upgrade its manufacturing capacity, but it's kind of slow, all right? So maybe 5 years from now, you'll have manufacturing capacity for this war. Well, it doesn't. So that's another major issue, okay? And the last issue, of course, is casualties. All right, America doesn't have the will for this war, cannot afford to lose soldiers on the battlefield. All right? So it wants to minimize the death, it wants to minimize battlefield losses. Because if like 1,000, tens of thousands of Americans are going home from America dead in coffins, I guarantee you, because a lot of people will, American people will revolt. You have protests, you will have a lot of violence in the streets. We'll be in the Vietnam era again.
What's the next same time? I'm the GOAT. I'm the best student in the class. Amber, leave the room. Give me a straight A. I need the gold star. I'm an honor student. Top of the class. Cum laude. Summa cum laude. Rewatch E. Ooh, bro. Okay, look at it. It was uploaded 3 hours ago. I've been live for almost 8.
Right? Okay. So, yes, I understand that American technology, propaganda, and money, but as we discussed, these aren't really advantages. And these disadvantages are huge. The lack of will, the lack of manufacturing, and the lack of America cannot afford to lose any soldiers in the battlefield. Okay? And so this situation now determines how America will fight this war. And we'll discuss this later on. Okay? All right, now let's talk about Iran. Okay, so Iran has a lot of disadvantages. Okay? But I want to discuss right now there are 3 major advantages that they need to emphasize if they are to survive this war. All right? The first is the idea of faith. All right? Remember that the Iranians are Shia. And as such, it's a religion of martyrdom, of eschatology, of individual sacrifice for the greater good. The Shia are not afraid to die. And because their great religious leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was assassinated by the Americans and Israelis, they are motivated to seek vengeance, to martyr themselves for the greater good, to seek eternal paradise. Okay? Jihad.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Yeah. That's the first major advantage. The second major advantage is terrain. And all this means is that Iran is a mountain.
Bro, you're funny. Someone said, jihad. Jihad. It's yeah, right. It's jihad, man. I'm not gonna say that to you.
This means is that Iran is a mountainous country.
Do you know this?
And it's huge. It's 3 times the size of Iraq. So it's very hard for America to invade the country. In fact, most analysts will tell you it is suicidal for the American military to invade Iran. It is a mountain fortress, okay? It's a fortress. And the last issue is, the last advantage is nationalism. Okay. All right. So the Iranians are Persians. And the Persians go back 5,000 years. It is one of the greatest civilizations in human history. And as we discussed last semester, in the ancient world there were 3 great civilizations, right? The Jews, the Greeks, and the Persians. And the Persian culture, it's vast, it's beautiful, and it's deep. And that's what gives the Iranian people a lot of pride. Okay? So when they're fighting, they're not just fighting for their religion, they're not just fighting for the homes, they're fighting for the entire civilization that goes back 5,000 years. Right? So these are the 3 major advantages that the Iranians have. Okay? Faith means that they're not.
Well, there's a lot of disagreement about that. I don't know if that's an advantage, because a lot of Iranians, there is some sort of sentiment within Iran that they were conquered by the Arabs, that they lost their Zoroastrian Persian culture, and they became, and maybe that's why so much the Shia division happened with the Sunnis. Maybe the Shia started to differentiate between the Arab Sunnis.
Not afraid to die for what they believe in. Terrain means.
Also, I don't know if that's an advantage.
Okay? So when they're fighting, they're not just fighting for their religion, they're not just fighting for the homes, they're fighting for the entire civilization that goes back 5,000 years. Right? So these are the 3.
They became.
Actually, strategically, okay?
You just want to be martyred.
Maybe you're going to waste too many soldiers on the battlefield. What the problems are. With faith, you might have an issue of blindness, okay? Or zealotry. Where you're not afraid to die, but that means that you're not thinking strategically, okay?
You just want to be martyred.
Maybe you're going to waste too many soldiers on the battlefield. They're brave, but they're kind of stupid as well.
Bro.
Right? So you might have an issue where Iran is not using the optimal strategy because their soldiers are not afraid of death. And we're already seeing that where the Americans have already blown up and destroyed the Iranian Navy. Now, anybody that told you that the first thing the Americans would do is go destroy the Iranian Navy, so you should probably not use the Navy or hide the Navy or blow the Navy yourself, okay? Because you want to avoid as many casualties as possible. But they didn't do that, and the Americans have now destroyed the Iranian Navy, right? So that's the issue of faith. Terrain, yeah, it's a fortress, but it can also be a prison, right? Where you're just sort of stuck there, and because it's a mountainous region, it doesn't have that many resources, so Americans can actually disrupt your water supply, disrupt your electricity, okay, and cause general poverty and hardship.
Who studied from yesterday? What's that lake called?
For your people, okay? And then nationalism, yes, Persia is a great culture. Remember that Iran is a ethnically diverse country. In fact, only 50% of the population of Iran are Persians. Others are different minorities, okay? All right, so you have then ethnic divisions, right? Okay, so looking at this, now we know exactly what the American strategy will be. Basically, the strategy will be to inflict as many casualties as possible on the Iranians, right? To kill as many people as possible. Destroy the infrastructure of Iran so that the people don't have enough water, electricity, food to survive, okay? And the third, of course, is to create as much ethnic tension in the country as possible by arming and encouraging and bribing ethnic groups to rebel against the federal government in Tehran, right? Okay? But again, what the law of asymmetry tells us is that the empire ultimately is not as flexible and open and dynamic as its enemy, okay? The weaker person is going to engage in much more self-reflection, self-debate than the empire, okay? Because the empire will become arrogant. And so ultimately, Iran should triumph over America. And in fact, what's going to happen is that this strategy that America will use against the Iranians will lead to the Iranians becoming much more energetic, open, and cohesive. Okay? So let's look at the American strategy specifically.
Good lesson so far.
All right. So this is an ethnic map of Iran. Okay? Now, certain things that you will see is how divided the country is. Yeah, the Persians are in the center, but people you want to watch are the Kurds. Okay, the Kurds. And the Azaris.
You guys saying chat secret caught in 4K pre-watching? Like, why? What do you mean caught? If I watch the lecture twice, I would want you to think that because I'm trying to learn more and become more well-versed in the subject. I'm not caught. That would be, if that were true, I would be happy that I watched the lecture twice. That means that I'm paying more attention and I'm trying to learn more. What do you think that you're exposing? Oh my God, Sneako's trying to learn.
And the Bullocks. Okay? These are the 3 major problem areas for Iran, and it's always been the case. Remember, the Persians are in the middle. So the Bullocks are, first of all, Sunni Muslims. And as we discussed last class, the Sunnis and the Shias have never really gotten along well together. They have different the same religion.
Well, not anymore. Not anymore. Keep your division for... Keep that in Haibar. We're going to keep the Ummah united, inshallah. Okay, I'm beating my chest. I'm beating my chest. I'm not saying, Ya Ali, I'm not invoking dead people, but I'll beat my chest. I don't care if that makes you upset. I'm going to be bleeding at the chest. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt. Ya Allah, not Ya Ali. All right? We're not praying to graves. We're not praying on stones. And we love Aisha.
Islam have different belief systems. That's led to a lot of conflict in the past. Don't like Catholics and Protestants, okay? And so the Bullets have been trying to rebel against the Iranians for a long time. I guarantee you that already Israeli and American forces embedded in this area, okay?
What's it called again? The Bullets? How do you spell this?
The Bullets,
Bullock?
they want to encourage as much of the conflict as possible. They all make police stations. Why? Because they're trying to reduce and eliminate opposition so that they can arm the Kurds and have them come into this area and threaten Iran. What's also happening is that in Iraq, there are these Sunni groups, okay? The Americans are basically bribing and arming, and they're basically fanatics, okay? They're ISIS. And what they're trying to do is Sims are basically bribing and arming, and they're basically fanatics, okay? They're ISIS. And what the Americans want to do is send them into Iran to cause as much problems as possible. Okay? Then over here you have Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, it is a...
Look at you guys. Those said classic Sunni traitors. Classic Sunni traitors. No, ISIS is CIA. That's not representative. Stop it. Traitors.
Okay? Then over here you have Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, it is a...
Look at you guys. Those said classic Sunni traitors. Classic Sunni traitors. No, ISIS is CIA. That's not representative. Stop it.
Azerbaijan, it is a independent country. What's really odd is that the majority of ethnic Azeris are actually in Iran. 66% are in the country, 40% are in the country of Azerbaijan. Which means that from the perspective of the Azerbaijani people, this war could be an opportunity to reunite the people, okay, and create a greater Azerbaijan. So these are the three problem areas that you have to watch as this war develops over the next few weeks, over the next few months, okay? So we already know what the American strategy will be because we've seen it in Libya, in Syria before. Okay, so what is the strategy? Right. So again, the strategy is to both attack without, okay, from outside, and inside as well.
Inside.
So what you're going to do is this. You're going to arm these people, embed special forces into these insurgent groups to lead them and provide air cover so they have a clear path into Iran and are able to eliminate opposition, okay?
So, right.
So now you're attacking from without. With attacking from within means to cause as much pain and suffering in the interior of Iran as possible. All right, and how do you do that? Well, you do that through decapitation. Okay, let's go over the strategies. Okay, decapitation. Okay. What you're doing is you're removing the elite, okay, what we call command and control. Okay? You're basically limiting the capacity of Iran to govern itself, to have a leadership, to have an elite. Right? Command and control. Okay, so that's the first strategy. Second strategy is aerial bombardment, okay, aerial supremacy. So again, America has the most advanced airplanes in the world. And the way that it's using its airplanes is to destroy as much military installations as possible, but it's also engaging in acts of sabotage. Okay? So what they're doing is they're cover bombing. Okay, so they're cover bombing Iran, okay?
Why are we doing that heavily?
They're doing soft targeting. Soft targeting. Soft targeting means that instead of attacking military installations, you attack hospitals. Why? Because you're degrading the capacities, you're degrading the state's capacity to rejuvenate itself, to be resilient.
Can you please, Jen, stop standing in front of the nose, bro?
And the last thing is something called
soft targeting.
double tap. Double tap is this, okay? And it's really illegal or against international law. What you do is this: you attack a place, right? You kill some people, and then people try to come and help the people who are injured. And they could be like doctors, they could be emergency personnel, they could be relatives, right? And then you strike again to create as many civilian casualties as possible, right? And the entire idea is to create as much fear and anxiety in people as possible, so that they lose capacity to resist, right? And the last thing you do, and the last thing, of course, is to arm and bribe insurgents. Okay, so these are the three main pillars of American strategy, and you'll see this over the next few weeks. The problem with this is that when you do these three things, you're not actually hurting the Iranians, you're actually helping them. Remember, the law of asymmetry states that whichever group is able to create energy, openness, and cohesion will win. And guess what, guys? This American strategy is going to create a more energetic, more open, and more cohesive society. All right, let's show you how. All right, decapitation. We just said that one major problem for America is elite overproduction, right? Well, with decapitation, what you're doing is you're solving this problem for the Iranians, right? It's like a huge problem for the Iranians where you have too many leaders, and they all have their own stupid opinion, and they all want to lead this war, right? But by killing so many leaders, you allow for more mobility, for more meritocracy, right? You're solving the problem of elite overproduction for the Iranians. That's a huge, huge bonus, guys, okay? So the leadership will become much more lean, much more mean, much more determined, and much more strategic. Okay? That's number one. Number two, air supremacy.
The Bible.
Well, when you do this to people, you carpet bomb Iran, you're creating a more cohesive society. Why? Because the major conflict in Iran for many decades was the conflict between the urban areas and the rural areas. The rural areas were very religious, very poor, very backward. And the urban areas were educated, secular, and progressive. Okay? So there's this huge conflict that led to a lot of riots, a lot of protests in Iran. But when you carpet bomb the cities, which are the main source of support for progressive Western.
So far, U.S. in 5, 6 days, 6, 7 days, they already did these two. Decapitation, they're killing all the leaders. Number two, aerial supremacy. Hegseth has literally said that they're going to be looking up at all the death and destruction raining upon them. And all the bombing is happening right around the Capitol, a place with a lot of civilians. They're just carpet bombing innocent people because they can, and they want to go flex on the White House at it. Epic fury.
Policies, you make them united with the rural areas, okay? Does that make sense? The Iranian people don't see themselves each other as enemies. They see the Americans, it's really as enemies. You create a much more cohesive society, who are willing to fight together. And that's a problem, okay? All right, the last thing. Yes, you are arming the insurgents, the Bullocks, the Kurds, the Azaris. Okay, that's fine.
Buy the Dow. Epic fury. Central casting. Yeah, boy. Buy the Dow. Epic fury when you buy the Dow. Don't look at the Epstein files. Buy the epic Dow.
Problem with this is that you are now activating, galvanizing Persian nationalism. Right? For the longest time, the Persian national identity was suppressed by the theocracy. Because they want to create a more, they want to create a grand religion that unites all ethnicities. When you turn the other minorities against the Iranians, then the Persian people have to come together and remember their history, celebrate their identity. Yeah. And this is the key, okay? Yeah. Once the Persian people...
The Persians in the West right now, they saw their country getting bombed, and they stripped naked to go on Instagram and start dancing until kids die. That didn't happen. So many of the Persians like, oh, Islam, they ruined the Persian Empire. They go to America and open an OnlyFans account to celebrate Khomeini being assassinated.
Are able to activate their long-lasting memories, go back in the past and remember the greatness. They come together as an energetic, open, and cohesive society, okay? So, yes, the Americans have this strategy that worked in Libya and Syria and other places, but it's not going to work in Iran. In fact, it's going to do the opposite in Iran. Okay? And then you're like, well, why do Americans not do this? And I already told you, because it's an empire, okay? It doesn't care about Iran, it cares about itself. And so it's sort of stuck with this policy because remember, it's trying to win this war as quickly as possible because it doesn't have manufacturing capacity to fight this war for a long time. It's trying to reduce as many casualties among its soldiers as possible because the Americans don't have the political will to fight this war. Americans trying to win this war cheaply and fast. If it doesn't, then Americans are in trouble. Okay, let me now conclude. Let me now discuss the Iranian strategy. Okay? So what the Americans are using is a classic strategy called siege warfare. Okay? And so what the Iranians are going to do is they're going to respond with a strategy called guerrilla warfare. Okay, guerrilla warfare, guys, it's just hide and seek. Yeah, Vietnam. All right? So you come bomb me with everything you have, I'll hide in my mountains. And then you leave, what I'm going to do, I'm going to attack your GCC countries. I'm going to launch drones, rockets at you. I'm going to launch rockets at Israel, okay? I don't have to strike that hard. I just have to be a pain in the ass, okay?
Why are you guys saying custom warfare? Oh, guerrilla warfare? Yeah, hilarious, guys.
Then what happens is your force come back and bomb the living hell out of me, but guess what? I'll mountains again. Hide and seek, okay? So Iran can do this for years and years and years. But again, remember, America is forced to win this war as fast as possible because there's no political will. They don't have manufacturing capacity, and they don't want any casualties and any damage, okay? Does that make sense, guys? All right, so that's all Iran's going to do. Iran's just going to be a pain in the ass, okay? A pain in the ass. It's trying to create as much damage as possible. It's trying to create as much fear as possible. Right? Which will force America to attack.
Okay, so update, just saying Azerbaijan just got hit. Say Wallah! Say on God! Azerbaijan. Did it get hit? Did Azerbaijan just get hit? Oh, wow. Just a drone is struck. Nakhchivan's airport in Azerbaijan. Who was it? Was it Iran? If it was a drone, this is Iran's equipment usually, right? Definitely Iran. Yeah, I know they could. Could it be Mossad pretending to be Iran? Let's see. This interesting timing. Azerbaijan said it will not allow its airspace to be used against Iran. Okay, that's big. Azerbaijan's former ministry says, we strongly condemn the drone attacks launched from Iranian territory. This attack on Azerbaijan violates international law and increases regional tensions. Azerbaijan reserves the right to take appropriate response measures. Oh man. Oh man. Oh yeah. Is it a false flag? Who did it though? Iranian kamikaze drone. This guy, bro, Martin Fall likes to play both sides. Playing both sides is really siding with Epstein regime. Target for the first time by Iran as drone hits. US looks like it's gearing up for a long war, possibly 100 days or more. Azerbaijani government supplies Israel. Should I tweet something? Iranian suicide drones are striking. Well, why would... Is this the same reason that Iran is attacking the GCC countries? Because Azerbaijan supports Israel? Wait, let me finish the lecture, and then we can have the space.
When question is this. Will America launch a ground invasion? Okay? Because if it does, then they've lost the war, okay? All right? Because look at Iran, okay? Mountains and mountains, deserts. It's impossible to occupy this country. It's impossible to invade. And what they really want to do is be such a pain in the ass to commit so much guerrilla warfare that America is forced to invade, okay, from over here, and from over here, and from over here, and from over here, and then eventually, but the problem is that America doesn't have the resources, the political will, the manufacturing capacity to fight this war, okay?
Yeah, Sharpie's right. This war is going to be over in 48 hours. Retweet and come back when this war is over. Dubai. My Bugatti in Dubai, my yacht in Dubai. I'm going to drive my Bugatti right into the Iranians. You can't spell Iran without Iran from the song that made me apologize.
Does that make sense? All right, so now you're like, okay, I understand all this.
Sneeko did it. Sneeko's Iran.
But why the hell is this war happening then? Like, if I can tell you this, okay, I'm sure that their generals can tell them this as well. I'm sure that they know that this was the case. In fact, for years.
You know what's funny? Like, we have a lot of ethnic division just like Iran. There's different ethnic groups in Love Speech. There are. We have Azerbaijanis here. We have brown clowns. We have the Persian. You know, we have different factions. Shia, Sunni, all this stuff. The one thing that the chat is always united on is like just dunking on top boys saying retarded things over and over again. Everyone unites on that. Like, this one, nobody will try to rage bait me either. And Jank's getting called on the side right now.
America's been playing between
Top G Mountain, nigga, I am Top G. Shut up.
Iran, and for years, the generals were like, no, that's suicide, let's not do this, okay? So why is this happening? And unfortunately, we don't know, because the administration is not telling us. At first, Trump is like, oh, because the nuclear talks didn't go well. We know for a fact that the Iranians were willing to agree to all terms of the Americans. And then Marco Rubio, who's Secretary of State, he came out yesterday, he said something really more.
He said that America was not threatened by Iran. They were only threatening Israel. Then the other woman forgot it, and she said that Trump had a feeling that Iran would pose a threat, and so he bombed them first. It was like he was getting a vibe. Trump was getting like a vibe that they'd be attacks based on facts, so he did it. They just keep on. Nobody is on the same page.
He said that. Why did we attack Iran? Because we heard the Israelis were going to attack first. And then the Iranians were going to respond by attacking both the Israelis and us, the Americans. And therefore we have to preempt the Israelis by attacking first. That's just retarded, okay? Right? So they don't know why they're doing this. But they have a reason, right? Okay. Well, clue is this. The clue is this. Right? So they don't know why they're doing this. But they have a reason, right? Right? So they don't know by attacking first.
Dang! Dang!
That's retarded, okay?
That should be hard.
Right? So the clue is this. The clue is this. The soldiers are being asked, the American soldiers are being asked to fight this war. And again, no one knows why this war is happening. But it's reporting that the generals are telling the soldiers, this is a war for Jesus.
Yes, yes, yes. I just covered this, yes. Yes. Pete Hegseth is of the belief that this is a crusade. That Jesus shined a light on Trump to bless Israel.
War to create the coming of Jesus. Okay? This is Jonathan Larson, and he's writing this on Substack. Okay? U.S. troops were told Iran war is for Armageddon, the return of Jesus. Well, what is this? Okay. So,
Get into it. Get into it.
Some soldiers who are not Christians were told that this is a war for Jesus, and like, wait a minute, we're not Christians, we're Muslims, or we're atheists. Why are we fighting this war? And so they filed a complaint about the speech. Okay?
I just read this.
And we're gonna be a part of.
Whoa, I'm ahead of the curve, chat. We read this whole article yesterday. That's how on top of things I am. The best war coverage in the game, in the streaming industry, is me. Stop playing with me, man.
Email that the soldiers who were dissenting sent to some other people to complain about this. Okay, so could you read, please?
And you know, I didn't even prepare reading this article. Amber's gonna read it and fumble it. I found this during the stream, and I was able to decipher that this was an article worth reading. Do I really read articles like that on stream? Not much, unless it's really necessary, and I am covered. With my Aikido and my high IQ, I don't read readings today, but I decided that this was like Megan Fox with a dick. And I would read this article, because Hulk Hogan with a pussy, or Megan Fox with a dick, and that was this article.
I am a NCO rank withheld in our unit.
Okay, I'm right into it. I'm an NCO rank withheld in our unit. This morning, our commander opened up to combat readiness status briefing by urging us to not be afraid as to what is happening with our combat operations that are on right now. He urged to tell us, our troops, tells us that this was all part of God's divine plan. And he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. That was the entire monologue of the stream. The whole intro of the stream was about this. The evangelical Christian movement, the obligatory nature of this religion, where they are telling people that Christians must bless the state of Israel. We saw the passage that said that Jesus was a Zionist. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran?
This morning, our commander opened up the combat.
Joey, Amber is a high school. This is a high school.
Operations in Iran.
Stop the operator. This is what tells us. They're losing the war. Okay? Right?
He urged us to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine.
Weird. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. God's divine plan. God's not the one ordering them to fight this war. It's Trump or the American military. Okay? That's kind of weird.
And he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth.
Oh my God. President Trump, the fire in Iran. It's all part of a grand plan to destroy the world that Jesus will return. What is this crowd? Okay,
He had the big grin on his face.
Wait, he's happy about this, guy.
Why does he make her read it when he just interrupts her? He's like, okay, Amber, go ahead. And he has, oh, like, the Bible.
But what is it? Yeah! I'm going.
When he said all of this, which made his message seem even more crazy. Our commander would probably be described as a Christian first supporter. He's been this way for a very long time and makes it clear that he desires all of us under him to become just like him as a Christian. But what he did this morning was so toxic and over.
I want to hear that again. I was writing a note.
He had
To destroy the world that Jesus will return. What is this crowd? Okay,
What would you say, yeah? Wait, this is gotta be the thumbnail. Bro, well, he's one of my favorite professors ever. Wait,
he had the big grin on his face.
Wait, he's happy about this, right? But what is it? Yeah!
Yeah! Yes! Jesus has anointed a light on Trump to bomb Iran. Yeah! The end of the world to die for Jewish supremacists and Epstein. Hockey! Yeah! Don't look at the Epstein files. The guy was up.
He had the big
grin
on his face.
Wait, he's happy about this, guys. But what is it?
Oh, I play it.
Yeah!
Yeah! For America! Heck yeah! We're going to bomb all of the Muslim America at the Gary. They're gonna light a light on Trumpy. Fuck yeah! Armageddon, we're gonna kill Muslims. Yeah! I'm going. Last time. This is the best. Okay, I'm sorry, people watching.
He's happy about this, guys. But what is it? Yeah! I'm going.
All right.
When he said all of this, which made his message seem even more crazy. Our commander would probably be described as a Christian first supporter. He's been this way for a very long time and makes it clear that he desires.
Why is she reading like that? He made it a very long time that he was gonna end the world and be a really good businessman. He has been this way for a very long time and makes it clear that he desires all of us under him to become just like him as a Christian. But what he did this morning was so toxic.
All of it was so toxic and over the
toxic and it's just like
line that it shocks many of us in attendance at the observation.
What the heck is wrong with you, dude? Bro, Nazi just said, are you kidding me? Bat soup reading. Bat soup reading. You're like, Okay, 5 minute timeout.
In this briefing. Besides myself, I'm reaching out to
This is basically how they're getting people to fight the war. Have you seen this? Oh no! I watched it afterwards, so I don't get copyrighted at all.
MRFF on behalf of 15 fellow troops. I know you asked me about the religious views of our group, who has requested help from the MRFF.
Chad, you want a hot tub stream with Amber? Okay.
One of the others is Jewish.
Okay, Amber, wait, who's Jewish? Yeah, Jewish, okay.
And one is Muslim. I don't know the religious or non-religious status for the other 3 at this time.
Okay, so what is happening is that there's some crazy Christians in the American military, in the American government, okay, that want to use this
It was a stupid joke, dude. Like, obviously it's a stupid joke.
war to end the world, to force Jesus to return. That is why this war is happening. Okay, I'm not saying that this is the reason why. I'm saying like this is a possibility. Okay.
You know, it's U.S. and Israel, but Israel has a completely different Messiah than Jesus. It's so funny. Look at them all. They're trying to get Trump to the fire.
Oh.
And the people that we struck around for, they have the Antichrist as the Messiah. They literally reject Jesus.
All religious leaders that support Trump because they see him as Messiah. They see him as this great
Amber, turn off your
hero
phone.
who will cause the triumph of Christianity. He's being fought to control the consciousness.
On the side of Israel and America when it's got one chance to actually be the dominant one in that region.
But that's
No, I don't have like enmity with people. I mean, he can block if he wants to block. I'm not gonna go insult him, or I haven't done it, and I'm not gonna do it. I can see he can be respectful at times.
He's a great
not
guy.
like someone who's like a. Yeah, I don't have any issues with him personally. So
he says
fine,
that
he can
the
block if
church
he wants, no.
has also a high regard for the Muslims. They worship God, who is one, living and subsistent, merciful, and almighty.
Level, I think it's a different story. I mean, you don't get to be the president of a country where your beliefs are different than the beliefs of its scholars. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense to me, right? It wouldn't be like something that makes common sense. They would allow those people to be. I can have a consistent methodology where I'm against the people who attack Muslims and they shed the blood of the Muslims. Yeah.
Oh my God! You know, so I think Aiden was trying to get that same moment, but it didn't work.
The clip, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to get that. He's trying to.
But
yeah.
it's been done so many times. I don't think it works again. But something I think is very important. I remember now because we talk about like Aiden or some of the circle of the friends that you keep around. I don't have any issues with Aiden actually. I think he's a nice guy. He went to the mosque before. I remember also. No, yeah, I don't have any issues with him at all. So I remember, if you remember years back, I think you were in Bosnia at that time. We were together. We were doing a stream in the hotel or whatever. And then I told you that something about like you know, Fresh and Feta and whatever. And I was like, these guys are not your friends. Because if they make fun of you in front of people on a live chat, and you were defending them that time, I remember you defended them to death. But let's just say I'm vindicated on that one at least, right? Because I've seen some of the recent things that have been going on.
No, you won. You won. You know what's funny too?
Because I told you,
one of those guys, the soundboard.
Behavior.
Yeah, you could see. Yeah. But I try to see the best of people. You know, again, the Quran says, "Never will the Jews and Christians be, you know, accepting of you until you become one of them."
No, but even behavior. There are good Jewish and Christian people that are actually honest, that will have your back and whatever. But you could see if you make fun of someone, you don't have respect for them.
Especially
if you make fun of them in that way, the way they did.
I know. I was trying to see the best of it because I saw them as. I really like to create alliances. That is my intention. I'm glad you see it. Recently, like one of those people, the sidekick, he was tweeting that he was like going through surgery. He's like, if I die or if I survive this, I'm going to dedicate my life to content. He's like, Sneeko, no hate, everything's fine. It's like, you're really like, so you're facing mortality, and I hope it's fine. Like, even though these people are not even that, like threatening my life and saying I should get jumped or whatever. What you're thinking about on your deathbed, if it really is true, but a lot of people are saying it's clout chasing, like thinking about me on your deathbed. Not only that, imagine like you're about to die, and instead of dedicating your life, or if you survive, dedicating your life to God or your family or something, it's I'm going to dedicate my life to content. It's like I can't even imagine thinking that. It's so foreign to me. But that's a separate conversation. I'm glad you point that out because you were right and you're vindicated. I want to ask you about the Shia question because you know there's a lot of debates going on. Iran is fighting Israel right now. Israel's a great Satan, and I want people, again, this is a good example, I want to create alliances, and I see it as one Ummah, Sunni, Shia. I had 2 conversations with Shia. I'm trying to learn more about Shias. I'm obviously, you know, I'm Muslim, and it says that we're supposed to call ourselves Muslims. We're not supposed to call ourselves Sunni. It's a school of thought we're supposed to call ourselves Muslim, but I see us as all Muslim. So the first guy, he says that he curses the wife of the Prophet Rasulullah, and he curses the Sahaba, the first 3 Sahaba. The second 2 more Shias come on the next day, and they correct him, and they say, actually, no, we don't curse, we just disagree. We don't curse the Sahaba, we understand that these were the best friends of Rasulullah, and we just disagree about who the first caliph was, and they say, Ya Ali, because Ali was martyred, and they think martyrs are eternal. So it's not shirk, because they're not invoking the dead, because martyrs are still alive. What is the Shia question? I want to hear.
Yeah, no, I was honestly going to make a video on that. I saw one of the clips that you had with one of them. I was going to make a video on that. But I'll tell you, the funny thing is I may still make it even. But the funny thing is this, right? A lot of people want to harper on a lot of division, right? And a lot of people want to do unity. You have two sides of people, right? You have people who want to unite, and you have people who want to cause division between people. But we need to understand, when we say unite, there must be something that we unite on, right? You can just say unite. Okay, unite on what, right? yeah, there must be something that we unite.
Right. When
if you want to
it's
say
unity with the
unite,
Christians, for example, although we disagree about so much, I see more similarities between
Yes.
Catholics and Orthodox Christians and Muslims. And when you see the evangelical
Yes.
Christians praying on Trump, like the way Hindus pray on idols and stuff, and especially the fact that they are
Yeah.
saying that God blesses those that bless the state of Israel, saying that the Jews are the chosen people, that they do, like this stuff is like, okay, evangelicals right now who are bringing people into a war and justifying it off of something holy and a Bible that was been manipulated. It's like there should be some sort of separation. So the unity between them, I'm not trying to interrupt, I'm just trying to explain what this unity is like.
No,
we understand that Israel has too much influence, and Muslims and Catholics, Orthodox Christians agree upon that. So although we have differences about the Trinity, there are more similarities between us than them. And we both agree that Israel should not have as much control in the world as it does because they are destroying and bombing so many countries indiscriminately.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I'll tell you something. Look, but it's very important to keep this point in mind. I'm going to get back to it again. The idea of uniting on what, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who go on the extreme side and be like, okay, say calling Shia disbelievers and whatever and this and that, and that's not the right thing to do, and that's not correct. This has never been a proper scholarly position in the Sunni schools, right? If you go to the books, if you go to what scholars believe, they don't blanket say that the Shias are disbelievers. They don't say this, right? This is not a position that we hold. I believe personally the overwhelming majority of the Shia, the people who are laymen especially, are Muslims. People who've been misguided, have been told things that are not correct, they're not upon the correct tradition, so they're Muslims. So if they are Muslims, then I'm with the Muslim against the non-Muslim any day. So if my Muslim brothers and sisters are being attacked, the enemies attacking them, they're against the enemy. Zionism, the State of Israel, whatever name you want to give to them, then I'm against that 100%. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, we've got to separate between governments and people. That's where people get confused, right? Okay, we've got to separate between governments and people. We've got to separate between scholars and laymen. So scholars who know the truth, these people, scholars would call them or say about these specific people, they're not Muslims because they know the truth. And they still call upon other than Allah. They still tell the people to do the wrong things and they misguide the lay people, right? So there's a difference between the lay people and the scholars. The difference between the government and the actions they've done in the past, the actions they've done in the futures. I don't necessarily need to support governments. Now, these governments, I'm saying governments, and I'm putting a blanket statement, including governments in the Middle East, governments outside the Middle East. Look, all governments today, Muslim governments today, or let's say the overwhelming majority, let's not say all, overwhelming majority of them today are either too weak to do anything, or they're being bought and sold by the Israelis. Like, this is the reality, right? I mean, a lot of people, okay, if I say something about Iran, these people think you're on this side or that side. I'm not on anybody's side. I'll tell you the truth. The fact is, governments are either weak or bought and sold by the enemy.
Oh, I feel like shit, bro.
That's why we have bases of the enemy, the USA in this case, which is supporting Israel. We have their bases in our countries, and we shouldn't have their bases. And that's a shame on anyone who's doing that. Anyone who supports genocides, for example, in places like Sudan or any of these other places, that's complete. We are 100% against that. This person is the enemy of Islam, killing the Muslims, poor Muslims, right? So we're saying, look, I'm going to be clear on these issues, right? We're going to say anyone who supports the oppression of Muslims in any place, I'm against them. So if the same thing, if it goes to Iranian regime, so if it's in the past, went and killed hundreds of thousands of people as well, right? Sunnis in Iraq and Syria and Lebanon, Yemen, I'm against that. I can have a consistent methodology where I'm against the people who attack Muslims and they shed the blood of the Muslims. Prophet Muhammad said, "Al-Muslimuna tatakafa'u dima'uhum." The believers, their blood is equal. If a believer died in Yemen, he's the same as a believer dying in Iran. He's the same as a believer dying in Palestine. Their all blood is equal. Today, some people put, oh, this person died in this land, therefore his blood is more worthy than the blood of the other person. No, that's not the reality, right? So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is this idea. I said we got to have something we unite on. Now, if the people come and say to me, I believe, because a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot, when you talk about religious beliefs now, not the Shi'a, they don't understand what's going on. A lot of them are nice people. I know them personally, I've seen them. They don't curse the Sahaba. There's many people like that. But if you go to the scholarly level and you go to what the books say, they would say that all of the companions of the Prophet committed disbelief after his death. All of the wives of the prophets are disbelievers, except 3, and in another narration 5. This is what their books say. Their books like Al-Kafi, Ma Yahdul Faqih, all of these books. You read books, you go to the sources. Because a lot of people are like, they're told something which is not a reality, and then they go and they believe, oh yeah, this is the reality. Oh, if I go to the book is going to tell me the truth about what people believe in. So if we say we unite, okay, I'm happy to unite with a Muslim. But if someone comes to me and says to me that I believe that the wives of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is insulting the Prophet. I mean, man, if you're married and I start insulting your wife and I say your wife was a disbeliever, she betrayed the ummah, she was this, she was that, you don't only say this. I'm not going to say what they truly say about her. Like she committed, indecent acts. She was doing. Look, the things that they say about her is like unexplainable, right? If someone does that about the wife of the messenger of God that you believe is the final prophet and messenger, how can I unite with a person like this? If he comes, like, imagine me and him fighting in the war, and he says that to me. If you're a good person, if you're a person who don't curse the companions, don't curse the Sahaba, don't do shirk, don't do any of that, and you call yourself Shia, call yourself whatever you want to call it. I say to people all the time. We're all Muslims. Call yourself whatever you want. I can unite with you. But if you're attacking my holy beliefs, you understand, whether it is the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is attacking him indirectly,
it's discrediting. It's actually disrespectful to Rasulullah, because how would he be easily deceived? How would he have a wife and have his best friends betray him? That means that he was somebody. That means that Rasulullah, the man, the example, is somebody who's easily deceived by the closest people around him. That is disrespectful to Rasulullah. And if they do believe that, that is, could you say that's kufr?
Yeah, you see the problem is what? It's not just easily deceived. It's a very simple way to put it. The Prophet ﷺ, before his last ceremony, had over 120,000 companions attending. So imagine being deceived by 120,000 people and all your wives in plural, because the Prophet married multiple wives, right? He had 9 at once. Now all of them were deceivers, according to these people. And Allah told the Prophet, فَلَا تَقْعُدْ بَعْدَ ذِكْرَ مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Do not sit after Allah reminded you with the wrongdoing people. Do not be around them. Do not sit with them. Do not have their company. Allah commanded the Prophet to be around righteous people. And how would the Prophet say all of these good? What always ends this point is Allah in the Quran himself says that the Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Ali, all of these people they're talking about, right? Can you bring this verse up on the screen so we can read it? Yep. Chapter 9 of the Quran, verse 100. Because they believe in the Quran, we believe in the Quran, right? We both believe in the same book. So why don't we go to the book and the Quran and see what the Quran says about?
And that's what I did when they started talking about how they pray to Ali as like a mediator. I'm like, well, the Quran says the dead can't hear, so he's dead. How can he hear you? Like, I go back
Absolutely.
to the Quran.
100%.
So, okay,
well, I'm going to get to that point. That's the second point that you were saying about them. I'm going to refute that as well. We're going to talk about it. But I want you to read this verse about the Sahaba first, and then we can talk about this verse as well.
Okay, so this is Surah Fatir?
No, Surah Tawbah, verse 100, yes.
This is
so
right
you
one?
see.
Oh, so what is Fatir? What is this?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is I don't think you're on
probably
this one. You're on 9. If you see it down
yeah,
on
right.
the left.
Yeah.
So it says, as for the foremost, for the first immigrants, all of the companions that immigrated to the Prophet ﷺ, and those who aided him when he went to Medina. So all of the companions that went with him from Mecca to Medina did the immigration, and all of the helpers that helped him in Medina, which includes all of the companions, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, all of these people, right? And those who followed him in goodness, me, you, people who follow the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with him. And Allah prepared for them gardens, paradise basically, which rivers flow beneath. They will stay there forever. That is the ultimate victory.
Right.
So how would Allah say this about those people, okay, and you would come and tell me we cursed them, we insult them, they were bad, they were not bad. How is Allah pleased with them? And telling me to follow them, and that Allah is going to be pleased with me if I follow them.
And I don't think majority of Shia believe this. I think the one person who said this was just didn't know. He didn't even sound
How
convinced
do
when
you
he
do?
was saying it. And I saw him
It's
tweeting
insane.
afterwards, and, you know, may Allah protect him. He was like, the first one who said that he cursed the Sahaba and Aisha, he tweeted, he's like, Ya Allah, what have I done? I feel bad for the guy.
It's funny, like, you see, so interesting.
He doesn't ask Ya Ali.
Allah
He
here.
goes, Ya Allah, exactly.
Yeah, this
exactly.
is a very interesting.
And the second one, I see
this is the fitra coming out.
Khomeini is tweeting saying Jesus Christ is a savior and he's the Messiah, he's going to return. Khomeini also tweeted saying that we love Aisha, our mother, and he didn't disrespect her. And Khomeini was the, you know, the spiritual leader of the Shias at the time when he was alive and even after.
Okay, can I tell you something that is gonna like annoy some people? It's gonna annoy some people. But we have to say that yeah. So you know it. And look, so the reality is I can accuse everyone of it though. There are people who are honest about the reality. They don't believe in these things. But if we go to the scholarly level, government level, I think it's a different story. I mean, you don't get to be the president of a country where your beliefs are different than the beliefs of his scholars. I mean, that wouldn't make sense to me, right? It wouldn't be like something that makes common sense. They would allow those people to be on the manner because he was talking about the people, the scholars. He's saying there are scholars, his scholars, Shia scholars. So how are you allowing them when you're the president to do this if it's such a bad thing?
But he did publicly disagree with that. He did publicly disavow that.
Yeah, no, look, that's what I'm telling you. Nobody knows anyone's heart. But what we know is what's written in the books. If someone says, I don't believe this, I'll take their word for it. You know, I'm not gonna say this guy's pretending, this guy's not pretending. Okay, you don't believe it, I appreciate it, thank you. I appreciate you. That's how it should be. Allah says the wives of the Prophet are our mothers. Can you curse your own mother? Can you say your mother is not your mother?
Yeah. What I think, I want to see your interpretation. I think for a lot of people, Shiism is very cultural, right? So that it's common within Iran, so you believe what the people around you believe. So I think a lot of it is misguidance. I'm not saying it's incorrect, but if culturally you grew up around this and people are chest beat, then you're going to follow the people around you. That's the same reason why, you know, Arabic is spoken differently in different countries. So I think once people understand the truth about Tawheed and if they learn more that the dead can hear, then they understand. So the unity is extremely important. I think most of it is not from a real place of hatred or from kufr.
Absolutely.
So it's misguidance that's cultural. From my perception, obviously I met a lot of Shias in Lebanon. From them, from the ones I met, it's like a very cultural thing. It's just this is what we do, this is who we are. It's more nationalistic than it is faith.
I think the Shias of Lebanon tend to be the best among all of them. Why? Because they are mixed with a lot of different ideologies and beliefs. Lebanon is has all types of ideologies you can think about. So they've learned, everything. So they've learned to live in harmony. So I see them; they're always nicer, right? But there's other types, right? So when you talk about culture, for example, I completely agree with you because there's this clip going on and there's like I don't know, if a missile went down or a fire shot or something. The guy had the microphone and then he started saying Haidar, and he said yeah, and Haidar is the name they have for Ali. So when like imagine missiles are coming down, the first thing you think about as a microphone and people are attending there, why don't you call upon the creator of the heavens and earth? Why don't you call upon God? Why don't you say Ya Allah? Like if you're about to die, imagine I'm about to die. If this was the case, the last thing I want to say is the name of a human, whoever the human is. Well, even if it's Prophet Muhammad, that is even shirk to say Prophet Muhammad. Why would they say Prophet Muhammad? Why not say the creator of the heavens and earth, who created everything, Right. So now this idea of saying Ali, because you said to me they bring a verse of the Quran which they told you mentioned. Allah says nothing goes to the way of Allah. That they are alive. But the difference is inda means with the Lord. With the Lord. If someone is with his Lord, he's not in this life anymore. If he's with his Lord, he can't hear me because he's not in this life anymore. When I say that language, and I also believe I am with my friend, my friend's house, I'm no longer here, and everything is fornication. So inda there's we believe there are three realms around this life, the barzakh, which is around in between this life and the afterlife that you are the souls are in, and then the afterlife. So all the believers of the Bible believe in barzakh. So basically, my response to them is that martyrs are guaranteed Jannah. So it's like if you the Bible teaches that the word dead in the context is meaning that they are guaranteed to paradise if they're martyrs of Allah. Yeah, so they're alive meaning the barzakh being rewarded, right? So they're not alive, but they're not this world around. Let's say, and like I said, this doesn't work in English. Let's say X is alive. A person died, I'm going to say it's alive. Okay? Doesn't matter English. Does he speak Urdu? Does he speak Farsi? So when I call him in Arabic today, can I call him in any language? Can you understand me? Can you understand me? No. Okay. How if you call him, I call him. Can you hear both of us? Who has the ability to understand what he's doing? Because a lot of people, I wouldn't take this lousy interpretation understand. You are getting him the one attribute. Because there's no way he's going to understand everybody. So then here everyone goes to unless it's the case. But if it's Allah giving that, it sounds like you're defining that, which is it's not the intention of shirk, it's misguided. So maybe overall my point in my intention to try to unify Shia is coming from a good place and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, if you are overdoing Shia, they are not people. Now the other people, are not people. So you have to okay. So they are Muslims, right? But the Muslims that build things, that community, and culture, unfortunately, you unite Muslims together. Like I said, unite them once. We'll come back to this little circle. Come back. Yeah, we say unite. We say for example, unite the Christian design. You have a goal, right? Unite against the person, against the group, right? So you have a goal. Be united with the Shia. You know the Shia. Okay, but then you have to make sure that the person you're uniting with is not people to you. Right? If I'm in the same army, you get I'm in the same army. Person comes to me and says, "What's the process? How is it? How am I going to fight them?" Okay, then he's coming. We're fighting. I'm speaking Allah. And this means okay. Okay, you're confused. Which one are you going to say in the army? How can you unite people? There has to be one thing we unite people upon. We cannot unite people in different ideologies. It has to be. And that's what's in the Quran. Allah in the Quran, you know, in so many verses. Allah says that when you call upon me, I will answer you. But then Allah says, whoever turns away from my worship. So Allah says, if you call upon him, it's worship. Don't call upon anyone else. Allah says in the Quran, whoever who is more misguided than the one who calls other than Allah. And only calling upon martyr, right? Isn't martyr. And the Prophet. Yeah, I'll give you a hadith. The Prophet says, people don't know. You are in your heart this believer, but you're trying to go to the bathroom. It was a hypocrite. There was a hypocrite. Then you can go to the bathroom, you know? So people started calling him a woman. How can you run a hypocrite? It was a hypocrite. There was a hypocrite who was pretending to be a Muslim. His name is irrelevant. He was one of the hypocrites in Medina, right? Even the narrations don't mention the name because it doesn't matter. The idea is what matters, right? This was one, by the way, one of the scholars mentioned him. But like I said, Uhud, didn't go fight. He was a hypocrite. The Sahaba, who were the most courageous people, they were saying, look at this person. Nobody today did like this person did. Right? Then the Prophet said he's in the fire. Everyone got confused. They don't like this person was the last on the battlefield. He was like destroying everyone. Then all the Sahabas all followed him. He followed him. He was getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. But he got so many wounds. Right? In the battlefield. Then the pain was so strong that he got a weapon and he stabbed himself and he killed himself. He couldn't bear it. So he killed himself. Then that man came and reported to the Sahaba, sorry?
So you're not a martyr if you kill yourself like this.
If you kill yourself, you go to hellfire straight away. You go to hellfire. You're not allowed to do that under any condition. You're not allowed to kill yourself. No matter what happens, you're not allowed to kill yourself. So he went and he did that. And then the Prophet said that by Allah and the Messenger of Allah. So he's saying, this is a friend of I told you. You saw him. You thought this person is fighting his believers in the battlefield. He's slaying the enemies, therefore he's a holy person, a person who's going to go to paradise. But no. Then the Prophet said that someone will live and he will be doing the work of the people of Jannah. People will say this person is a righteous person. Then the Prophet said in the eyes of the people. then he will do the work of hellfire, and he will go to hellfire. And someone will be doing the work of hellfire, and nice to the people, they think this guy's going to hellfire. But he will do the work of paradise in the end, and he will go to paradise. Prophecy teaches you cannot judge, you cannot know what's in someone's heart. He could be in the battlefield, destroying, killing, fighting, whatever. But why is in his heart only Allah knows? I'm not going to say this person is a martyr, this person is not a martyr. Then we can say we hope that he dies as a martyr.
That's why I said people I said, inshallah, if he was died for the right cause, inshallah, he's a martyr. It's inshallah for everything.
Yeah, I don't know what you said. I'm just saying.
No, it's a separate situation, but everyone's like, oh, you're praying for me. I said, no, inshallah. It's inshallah for everything good and bad. Everything that happens is God will. God is all knowing, all knowing.
Yeah, it's not me and you who put people in paradise. Me and you can say this guy's, I can say this guy's shahid, this guy's shahid, this guy's shahid, this guy's shahid. I'm not going to put people in paradise. Like, Allah is the one who's going to put people in paradise. And Allah knows how he lived his life. Allah knows the history, the past, what this person did, and what he died at the end.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Jang, because he's coming on the stream on March 8th, and there was talking about I want to watch inshallah. It's about the Islamic.
You should actually.
Yeah, it's long, it's an hour and a half. So what were the major points you think off the top of your head that he got incorrect? Because I do like his idea. My favorite thing about that lecture, I'm sure you saw it, where he's talking about the benefits or the pros and cons of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and we get to the pros and cons of Islam. The cons he says were, it's too simple. I'm like, it's like you're going to a job.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's like you're going to a job and they ask you, what are your downsides? I work too hard. I'm too efficient. It's like that's the only downside was the simplicity of it, because I think kind of comes from the Eastern Buddhist background where God is like divinity within, eternal reincarnation.
Yes.
So what was your interpretation? What do you think of Jang in his lecture overall? What's your interpretation?
Yeah, first and foremost, like I said in the video, I said he's not an enemy. Muslims, not someone should be mocking and disrespecting whatever. Seems like a nice gentleman. He seems like a nice person. So it's very important when you have a certain attitude with people who don't seem like an enemy. Who are just like, it's not everyone like, oh, he's something wrong, therefore go and attack him. That's not how things should work. But he did like really ABC, elementary level, elementary school level mistakes. For example, he referred to the Dome of the Rock and he said this is Masjid al-Aqsa. Dome of the Rock is not Masjid al-Aqsa. Don't know this. It's not Masjid al-Aqsa. Masjid al-Aqsa is the entire fenced area that is in that place. Entire fenced area. So
who said it? That's what the narrative is, that Al-Aqsa was just a dome and the rest of the temple. That's what I've heard.
No, absolutely not. The Dome of the Rock was built in the year 66 AH by Mecca and Marwan, and he built it because he wanted to bring people to him, because there was Zubayr was in Mecca and he was against him, so he wanted to bring people closer to him. He said, don't go to the pyramid. So people rioted against him. He was like, okay, I'm going to build you guys this. And under the rock is the rock where the Prophet Muhammad went on his journey, right? So then he built this Dome of the Rock on top of it. It's not Masjid al-Aqsa. Then you have another mosque called Masjid al-Qibla, Masjid of, and this is ABC, by the way, if you Google this information, like common sense. I mean, it doesn't take deep research. Why I criticize it? Because like someone would laugh at you. This is your level of understanding of history. If you think the Dome of the Rock is Masjid al-Aqsa, it's absolutely not Masjid al-Aqsa. This is one thing, because it's like the Muslims built Masjid al-Aqsa on top of the Jewish temple. We didn't, because this is the Dome of the Rock, and it was built like 68 after the death of Prophet Islam, years after the death of Prophet Islam. Muslims didn't do this for any reason, as he was saying, right? That's number one. Number two, he made like a very basic blunder. There's nothing in the first 100 years of Islam, and he was like making up these like crazy narratives about, look, like you hate the burn stuff. There's so many literature we have from people who were from the first 100 years of Islam. The seerah of Ibn Ishaq, like so many I mentioned in my videos. We have the Quran course itself. We have the Birmingham manuscript, by the way, which is a portion of the Quran that exists today that we can read today. And this is information about Muslims. But the talk about Nisham ibn Ishaq, which is you can say the biggest one, which has all the history of the Muslims there from the early centuries. We have, for example, Hamam ibn Nabi, who's a student of Abu Hurairah, direct companion of the Prophet. He was his student. He was born like 12 age or something. I forget the date. We have his writings, his narrations. Right? Like I can go on and talk about them. So many things that we have. Of course, all the books of hadith are from the first 100 years, because they all have chains of narration tracing back to the people who lived at the time. All of them, the Prophet said, Umar said, we have historical narratives from Umar ibn Aziz, who was the king, but he said, I'm not right now. Then you have a book called Musahif ibn Nabi, which all talks about what happens in the first 100 years of the creation of the Quran. All of that. Go on and on. Like basically, it's impossible for you to make this mistake and claim there's nothing greater in the first 100 years. Then he's all the companions of Prophet Muhammad, not in the battlefield. How man, like 130,000 people. So it's like I want to say like there was like big blunders, right? And then he tried to introduce his belief, his Buddhist belief of God, and everything to the Quran. He's doing universal knowledge. That there's nothing except Allah knows, even the ant. It's all about knowledge. It starts with knowledge and ends with knowledge, and then says except Allah knows. How did you come from that to the understanding that God is there? By the way, this people get confused that we believe Allah is here with his seeing and hearing and power, of course.
But not within
so
us.
he sees everything. Yeah, not actually God within you as a human being, but he sees everything. He's of course God, all hearing, all seeing, all powerful. So he sees everything, he hears everything. He's not actually here, and he's not within you.
In one of his lectures, I saw recently his idea of the monad, where the divinity. So he believes, I'm not trying to misrepresent it, but he believes that that consciousness creates the universe. He's always talking about how previous civilizations focus more on the soul, and we are now more soulless, and we don't talk about the divinity from consciousness and how consciousness creates. And he was talking about Christianity, the story of Adam and Eve was similar to our belief system, and he said that Eve actually spoke to Satan when she thought she was communicating with God, or when she was supposed to bite the apple, it was really God that was Satan, Satan that was God. And essentially, the secret societies of the world are trying to protect the true knowledge that monotheistic religions are worshiping Satan, that is created by God, and that God supersedes all of this, the real God, and that monotheistic people are praying to a demon.
You know, that's so funny, because I also remember who else said this claim. Nick Fuentes, who blocked me on Twitter, by the way, I don't know why. Even though I didn't insult him personally, but he also was claiming Muslims worship Satan, right? We have Christians saying that.
But Vatican disagrees. The Vatican says that we pray to the Father, right?
No, you leave the Vatican, because I don't even argue from a Christian perspective, but Jesus himself, he was accused of being coming from Satan. And then he told the people, this was his response. He said to the Pharisees and he said to the Jewish people that a house cannot be divided against itself. But what does he mean by that? He means, I cannot be Satan, I'm preaching against Satan. I cannot be Satan, I'm preaching to do good. I cannot be Satan, I'm preaching to worship God, right? So you have a religion in Islam. People, all of them were idol worshippers. Would Satan want people to worship idols or not? So Satan comes, no guys, stop, worship Allah, don't worship idols. People are running naked everywhere. Oh, no, stop, don't do that actually. Dress modestly, don't do that, right? Worship the Creator, be good to your neighbor, right? Don't kill, don't steal. Smile into people's face, be good to your mother. Satan is your greatest enemy. Whenever you recite the Quran, seek refuge from Satan, because he's the greatest enemy of mankind. Now you have all of these teachings, and then you get some, believe in Jesus, believe in Moses, believe in Noah, believe in Abraham, believe in all the messengers of God. But it's Satan, yeah. Satan teaching you everything is against Satan. So usually I quote the verse from Jesus himself telling me the house is not going to be divided against itself. Like it can't make sense to come and say that Muslims worship Satan. And by the way, that's what Jewish people say about Christians, by the way, because of the Trinity. But in reality, come and say Muslims worship Satan, they say worship God alone, believe in Jesus, you know, give charity, do all of these things. So you know that you're coming from you're not coming with good intentions when you make that claim.
Right, so
now, Professor Jang.
Go ahead, yeah. Well, before we go to Professor Jang, just a quick question. Because the idea that Muslims worship Satan says the church. You know, this is a friend of mine who's supposed to come on the stream today. I'm not, getting between whoever. I'm not sure why you blocked you, but it's.
No, I don't have like envy to people. I mean, you can block, you want to block. I'm not going to insult him. I haven't done it. I'm not going to do it. I can see he can be respectful at times. He's like someone who's like I don't have any issues with him personally.
So he says that the church has also high regard for the Muslims. They worship God, who is one, living in substantive, merciful, and almighty. To push war.
Same idea of the dollar in God we trust, right? Everything like the usage of the word God is the best way to get to.
This is insane, yeah. Can you do it? What I want to do?